Okay, hold on, wait. I'm saying, listen now.
Hey, freeze! Oh, you know, I'm from the School of the Hard Knocks. You know what we learned in School of the Hard Knocks? We learned? I see what people that back.
Ever since the day started, it's just been crazy stuff. It's been happening all day.
Look, I'm plugged in now. Relax.
Bro, that's all we got. We already been robbed earlier.
Peace and blessings to the family. Welcome to another episode of the Radio Place Master Phone Shows. Now it's going live. We're here with a special guest for our special request. A phenomenal, one of the most multi-dimensional writers, producers, directors, editors that I've ever seen. The array of talent and skill and mind and consideration, care, and love that is crafted in everything that I've seen that she has built, and her heart of service, giving back to the community and sharing the secrets with us every single step of the way. It becomes an honor and privilege at this time to introduce some and present to others the writer, producer, screenwriter, director, bestie. You understand what I'm saying? The one, the only Queen Norris in the building. Honestly,
Yes.
Queen, how you feeling?
I'm good. How are you? How you doing?
I'm good. You made my day. You made my day bright. I'm telling you. Brooklyn in the house. You know what I'm saying? My way in Atlanta. Okay, Atlanta. Do they still say Atlanta like that? I'm from Atlanta. No, I'm from Atlanta.
Yes, they do.
Beautiful to have you here. I'm telling you, the work that you do daily, like the workload, the time, the energy, the effort, the bonds, the connections, the opportunities you give, I think very remarkable.
Yes,
Very,
thank you.
very remarkable. So what I read is that at 5, you knew what you wanted to do with your life. At 5?
Yes.
That
I've
is
been
beautiful.
writing since
Please
I was
walk us through that, please.
so I've been writing since I was about 4 years old. I used to I used to create books out of notebooks and create construction paper. And I would force like my brother and my cousins to read them, when we would play school. And I just kind of knew I always wanted to tell stories, but back then I wasn't thinking movies, I was thinking books. I've always wanted to be an author and tell just these great big epic stories with all these just these like, because it's different, when I was growing up, the most of the books that I read growing up, they didn't have people in them that looked like me. And so I just always wanted, even at a young age, I always knew I wanted to have stories for us, and do things the way we do things. And, and as big and as epic as we are, we just don't see ourselves in those spaces. And I understood that as a child. And then when I got to be 9 years old, I saw a film called Back to the Future. They had like a run of it on
Ugh.
TV. And when I saw it, I don't know, something just kind of clicked in me. And I said, you know what? I want to make these types of movies with Black people in them. And so I want to write this type of movie, these big action adventure films with Black people in them, and just tell our stories instead of writing books. I want to write movies. And then when I got to be 13, I've been playing basketball since that's my first love. My second love is basketball. My first love is writing. Second love is basketball. And when I was 13, I was on my way to a basketball meeting to get, your paperwork that you need to get a physical done for basketball. And I walked into the wrong classroom and I seen this huge film camera. It was a news camera. And I said, well, what room is this? And the teacher in there said, well, we're going to start doing the morning announcements on the TV. You're more than welcome to come help out. And I was like, yeah. And she said, come back the next morning, an hour before school started. I said, okay. I came. They explained that the show was going to be like a news station show, like CNN, and we were just gonna have the morning announcements on the TV like a show. And they asked for ideas, and I said, well, the holiday dance, Christmas dance is coming up. Instead of just announcing it, why don't we shoot a commercial? And the guy in there was like, you're going to be my director. And I had no clue what a director was. And so after that, I went to the library and I researched all these books on directing, on producing, on just filmmaking as a whole. I checked out as many books as they would let me. I think it was like 8 at the time. I checked out 8 books and I went home and I read them all. And I just fell in love with the whole art of filming. And after that, that was my main mission, is become a filmmaker.
You're gonna be my director.
Yeah. Yep. And I had no clue. I was just like, okay, sure. And he let me direct a commercial, and it was like my very first experience with directing. He let me direct the commercial. I got to choose the actors. We had auditions, like the whole nine. And I just fell in love with that whole process.
So how did that lead into later on? Like, how did you get into directing videos and working with the stars type of situation?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, it was a class that I was able to take, a film class that connected you with college courses. So it's basically like a college film course, a course for filming, and so they would let you check the equipment out and take it home on the weekends. And so I started taking the camera home every weekend, and I would film stuff in my neighborhood. I would film music videos for the people that wanted to do music in my neighborhood. I would come up with I remember my very first short I did in high school. It was a gambling. It was a basketball gambling movie, short film, where the guy was betting on basketball games, and he had tried to get this guy to throw a game, and I did that in high school. And so that transitioned into me going to school. I went to Howard University. Shout out to the real HU. Went to Howard University, and I kind of had a detour a little bit. I joined the Army. Was in the Army for 12 years because I couldn't afford school, so I left. Joined the Army. Went to war 2 times, and then came back, finished up school, and then I moved to Atlanta.
What you do in the Army? What you do in the Army? I'm nosy.
I was an 88 Mike. Did logistics. I drove trucks and forklifts. So I can drive anything in the world. Anything. Yeah. Yep, drove trucks.
Yeah, with your pinky, okay?
Yes, cruising on chill mode, just driving big, gigantic, huge vehicles, just so chill. Yes.
Hemmets and all kind of stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm. So finished up, came back, and then once I got out of the military, I moved to Atlanta. And what ends up happening was I was living in Florida, and a friend of mine was shooting a video for Turk from the Hot Boys, and he asked me to come up and do behind the scenes. So I came up, did behind the scenes, went back, and then he called me the next week and was like, "Hey, I'm doing it again for TI. Can you come back up? Because you have your own equipment. Can you come back up and shoot? I need a camera person." Came back up the next weekend, and then I just realized this is where I needed to be. But my goal was always to move to Atlanta. I didn't mean for it to happen that fast. But the opportunity presented itself. I came up, and then that's how I got in, to be able to shoot music videos for T.I. and all these people like Young Thug and Rich Homie Quan and the Migos. They were really only Atlanta local. They were just Atlanta famous. They wasn't big. And so it was me. I shot the Handsome and Wealthy video. I did Young Thug's Danny Glover and all of the stuff he had with Rich Homie Quan back then, and that kind of catapulted me into being able to do short films and then features, and then here I am.
Oh, that's about 4 right there. Driving back and forth from Florida to Atlanta, huh? You was driving or you were flying?
Both. So sometimes I flew, sometimes I drove, and then after, I would say maybe 2-3 months, I was just like, this is where I need to be. So I just came and I stayed.
So what time frame is that? What year around?
This was 2014. 2014. So I moved here Easter weekend 2014, April of 2014.
Yeah, Atlanta was on fire around that time. Again, it was another resurgence. Yeah, it was
like music changed. Music was changing. That was the brink of, where music really changed a lot. And I got, I was blessed to kind of be in that path, and it just kind of swooped me up, like a river, and pushed me forward through the rest of my career.
Yeah, 94 to 2004, if we just go in decades, that was a whole nother proving ground, right?
Yeah, yes.
So you go through that, and then you go 2004, 2014, another decade of proving ground. You go from Pastor Troy to the Migos. You understand what I'm saying? You go from, you go from T.I., Pastor Troy, Camp, everybody, Ludacris, all of them, right? And then the surrounding areas, you get Phil Mob and everybody, with all of the music changing again, and then the music changes again. So it's like,
Yep.
Definitely. I'm being Army nosy real quick. I did 17 years in the Army.
Okay.
Where did you? Was it Iraq or Afghanistan? Or
both. So I went to Iraq in 05, from 05 to the end of 06, August 05 to December 06. And then I was in Afghanistan. We left October 2008, and I came home October 2009.
You just happen to be in the shittiest places at the shittiest times.
Yes.
Like, yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
I can say Iraq in 05 was what's crazy is when I first got to Iraq in 05, because the war had just started. The war was only 2 years in. We were only just 2 years in. So the stuff that we had in 05 when I left at the end of 06, like, it had gotten so much better. Our living arrangements had gotten better. The food we were eating had gotten much better. The things we had to kind of protect ourselves had gotten much better. When I got over there, we didn't have like up armored vehicles. We ended up going to get our vehicles up armored, and so it was a bit different in 05 than it was when I left in 06. And then Afghanistan, we really didn't have the issues we had in Iraq at all. I think they had figured out so much more, things once I got to Afghanistan.
Well, the surge had picked up. I was there for the surge 09, 2010. So that was like the craziest Afghanistan time since the initial type of situation. But Iraq, I was there 03, 04, 04, 05. So I was there right during that time, then 07, 08. So I didn't get the 05, 06 situation, not too much.
Yeah. So I got your situation when I first got to Iraq, the wild living conditions, tents with all the cots in it. Yeah, we had that. Yeah. Yeah. So we, you know, I would say the middle of '06 is when we started moving into like trailers, really nice, you know, 2-man trailers, like dorm rooms. It was so much
Yeah.
better than living in a tent with 30 cots in it.
Yeah. That sounds
Yeah.
like Taji or something like that, like one of those places.
Yeah. I was in Camp Cedar 2 in Iraq.
Mm,
Yeah, I was in Camp Cedar 2, but like I said, we drove trucks, so we spent so much time on the road. I very
right,
rarely
yeah.
was at Camp Cedar. Yeah, so we was everywhere, Fallujah and Baghdad.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
all
we.
that.
Mhm.
Fallujah, Onija, outside the city, Dogwood, all of all of the
Yeah,
I was out there kicking indoors, so
yeah, yeah. Oh man.
yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah, my bad. I had to be a little nosy and see what was
Oh no,
going on.
hey, trust me. When we see each other, we know each other.
Right.
Yep. So you did 17 years. I did 12 years. 12 years in the army. Got out. Yeah, well, I did one contract and then I switched to the reserves because I knew I wanted to do film. So I swapped to the reserves, finished up school, did the whole nine.
What was the transition like for you?
It was tough. I'm not gonna lie. The first year it was a bit tough because it's being around structure and you know, just discipline and strict, and then you come out in the civilian world and it's like a baby. You know, you're like around a bunch of babies. You know, it's like everybody's toddlers just throwing tantrums, especially after being deployed. You know,
Yeah.
it was very hard to come home and just see people cry about stuff. And I'm just like, y'all have no idea how these
Mm.
people live over here. America takes so much for granted, so much for granted. And it was just it was a tough transition. It was definitely a tough transition from, you know, being active into, you know, the reserves. And the reserves is very chill, very, very unstructured, you know. And then when it's time to be structured, it's it's like you got to kind of snap into that, and then you know you have your it's a lot of flaws in it, so it's a different thing.
So then going back into the civilian sector, well, you know, the reserve, I don't know if you were active guard or just, you know,
No, I
that
went
weekend
just
warfare.
reserve. Just
Okay,
reserve.
okay.
Mhm.
So going back into the civilian sector, what was that transition like versus going to the reserve component and still, you know, going back and forth with that?
Like I said, it was very much like being around a bunch of toddlers. Like even when I started back working a regular job,
Hmm.
at, you know, when I got to school, I worked a regular job, and it was just like y'all cry about nothing. It's just like this is let's just get it done, because the more we stand here complaining, the longer it's gonna take to get this stuff done. Let's just get it done so we can get it done and go. But it was like being around a bunch of toddlers, you know, the temper tantrums and stuff like that. It was just very different, very different. It's very much
So,
like millennials now. You know, it's like you're telling somebody to do something, and it's just like they get this so confused look on their face, and it's like this is it's tough going from being around a bunch of people that understands exactly what you're saying to now you
mhm,
having to explain every little thing. It's like no one has common sense. And even in the military, I'm sure you've experienced that. You know,
of course,
even in the
of course.
military, people didn't have
Yeah,
common sense. So to
yeah.
come out and be a civilian and see, you know, folks not have common sense outside of the military, it's like 10 times
Yeah.
worse.
So how did you start your journey into building your own team, your film crew, Qii
Yeah.
Films? What was that like? And how did you go from, all right, this is a determined idea in my mind to actually doing these things yourself and then integrating people into your world? Like you know
Yeah.
what you can handle, then integrating people into your world and then they're becoming like family type situation. Like how did you kind of get that together?
Yeah, so I always knew I wanted my own film production company since I was a little girl. I just wanted to
Mm,
make sure when I did it, it was done right. I wanted to have a super dope name. Qii Films, Qii doesn't mean anything. It's just a made up word. But for me, it means to it basically means to just create, create things on accident. The best inventions we have were done accidentally. Penicillin, accidental invention, the microwave, accidental invention. So many things that we have. It's just like, don't be afraid to mess up, because when you mess up, that could be the greatest mess up you have, that could put you in a situation that's gonna propel you forward into some bigger motion. And that's basically all Qii Films mean. It just means like, just create and don't be afraid to fail. And I always knew I wanted to have a production company, but I just wanted something that meant something to me. And so when I created it, I started working. When I was doing my short films, I was working on other people's short films and movies and stuff. First, I was shooting music videos, and then I just started paying attention to who was serious. Because a lot of times in this business, you'll get a lot of people who is in it just for the money. And it's like, if you're in it for just the money, when the money is gone or when it's low, you're out of here. And it's like, I can't have that, because everything in life is ups and downs. I need somebody who has as much passion for this business as I do. And so when I started working with people, I started seeing who had the passion, who wanted it, whether we got paid, $100 today, or if we got paid $1,000 today. I wanted to know who put all of their effort into every time we did anything, regardless of how much money we were able to be paid that day. And I just started pulling people, and eventually I got my crew. And we've been a crew since 2018. I've gotten my crew, that my core crew, we've been a crew since 2018, and we just been rocking out. And like I said, because sometimes I can pay them a lot of money and sometimes I can't. And so they're there to pull up for me, whether I can pay them or not. And that just makes me go so hard, and they go hard for me. And so when we do get these big, massive opportunities, I can pull them along and say, hey, because you was here when I had nothing, and you stayed when I had nothing. And, even when the money came and we got big, you never switched up. It was never a thing. And then when we came back down, it was like, hey, I can only pay you this much. And it's like, well, I don't really care. I just love being on the team. I love shooting. And it's like, these are the type of people I need around me. So that's how I end up building my team. That's how, I'm able to move and do these movies I do. My team.
So what kind of environment would you say, like what's family environment to you, working with you on the set, the people, your team, everybody, different personalities, different walks of life, different ideologies, right? All of that, managing all of that. So what does that set look like? And then you work with some people. I've seen you work with multiple times. What is it like working with those particular actors? I don't want Bill Duke to slap me because he said he don't like acting. He like the word becoming. Different actors, actresses, recurring,
Yeah.
and how do you maintain those relationships, and then like your core crew, what's it like on set?
So we have a blast on my sets. I'm very fun, but they know when it's time. Like when it's crunch time, we turn it off. It's like, hey, we got to get this done. It's serious. It's go mode. And they understand that my team can look at me and say, okay, Queen is not playing. Like, it's not fun time. Let's get this done, for Queen, and let her, let's let her rock out, or let's make sure she has everything she needs. Because it's very rare that I stress. And when I am stressed on set, it's like everybody pours in. And they're like, okay, let's get whatever needs to be done, so we can get back to the fun part of it. We have a good time on set. And I'm very, very, very particular about my actors and my crew. My core crew comes with me no matter what. But, on a set, so I might have to hire out a bunch of light guys. My DPs might change. My PAs and stuff like that. All of those people change out. And so I'm very particular about who I allow on set. I'm meticulous. I talk to people because I don't like negative energy. And when you come on my set and you got negative energy and you're crying and complaining about stuff, this is the independent world. We're not Hollywood. Sometimes we don't have plush, sets where you got really nice chairs to sit in. Sometimes you got to sit on the ground, or you got to bring your own chair, or you know, the finances aren't there for us to be able to do all of the nice things we want to do. And if you're going to complain about it, there's just no point in you being here, because we make the best of every situation we have because we love what we do. I'm very much the same way with my actors. Um, I always, you know, do my auditions. I love to choose people that got, when I talk to them on the phone, they're just energetic. They love the craft. They're excited. Um, I know nowadays the world likes to be nonchalant, and I'm a very nonchalant person when it comes to other things. But when it comes to film, my passion is too big to have you come on my set and just treat it like it's another project. I don't like that. So I'm very particular about who I bring around, because, you know, they, like you said, energy is neither created or destroyed. And if you bring in bad energy on my set, I don't want it bouncing around here. We only like good energy bouncing around here.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it shows, like it flows through. Like every film, whether it was a short, whatever it was, I saw that. I saw. I'm like I said before we went live, the outtakes. I was like, yo, I need the outtakes separate. Just if you got them somewhere, I just love to see it because I love behind the scenes. So the reason why I started this platform is to get the behind the scenes look. The world might see this, you know, the world might see you in this modality or that modality or whatever it is, right? So behind the scenes is perfect, right? So I can see you doing the wobble with Tyler Perry, right? I can see that, right? But I'm like, okay, what's that moment about? Like, what was that like? You see what I'm saying? So now I get the behind the scenes. So you taking me through the story. You know what I mean? So
yeah, Thanksgiving. Like I said, it's not up right now. I'm gonna go ahead and try and get that fixed. But Thanksgiving, we had outtakes on the end of that too, so people get to see how much fun we have on set. Just dancing with, you know, I have a whole thing of me dancing with this skeleton, you know, on set. Everybody just, you know, everybody just having a blast in between takes. We're just having such a good time. Yeah, so we definitely have that on Thanksgiving too. Where we have the outtakes.
you got some of my favorite sketch artists also in that film. You know,
And
the
Thanksgiving.
Myrons and
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you're
So
talking about The Night. That's a movie I did with Funny Marco.
yeah,
Years
Funny
ago.
Marco.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're working to get that out. But yeah, I did that with a Funny Marco. So we're working to get that one out right now.
yeah, he's uber talented. A lot of
Yeah.
those guys, Funny Myron, or a lot of those guys I watch. So
Yeah.
I kind of fell into the sketch world different. Like initially, I was watching the military kind of ones. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I watch them and I'm laughing crazy, hysterical, laughing because we know what they're talking about. Like the
Yes.
regular people may not, or they might just find it funny. Like, oh, you army guys or whoever, it's crazy. But I was like,
Yeah.
and I found Big and a few of those guys, and then I went into that world. You know what I'm saying? So then I went into the Nigerian sketch world, and I seen all of the sketches and the vines and all of that. And then I started linking with some of the people. And that was so much of a world unto its own. It's like, all right,
Yes.
everybody has their own expectations. So I'm like, I wonder if they all know each other and this is like a bond that they share and they offer people opportunities. And if they fumble it, they out. But if not,
Yeah.
they got an opportunity forever. And everybody works on everything and everybody's sketch, somebody writes, somebody does the lights, somebody films, somebody edits, and then everybody knows all of the rest. I was like, yo,
Yeah,
everybody is a
because that's how you
production team
grow.
unto its own. Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
you
So I
grow
was
when
like,
you come on and help each other out, and you know y'all are just moving and building and holding each other up. Absolutely. Then everybody arrives together. Everybody arrives together. Absolutely.
so today, what's your favorite short?
My favorite short, I'm gonna say Things Fall Together is probably still my favorite. It's the first short I've done by myself, wrote, directed, produced that by myself.
Mm.
it excuse me, it impressed a lot of people. I think it's the first time that people got to see me 100%. I think prior to that, I was working on other people's shorts, and so they got to see me like either produce or direct on other people's stuff, but they never got to see me as a whole, write, direct, produce one single project. And so when I put it out, it got great reviews. People loved it. I had a premiere for it, and I mean, like, it went way better than I expected. I mean, I expected people to like it, but I didn't expect people to love it that much. Even, we ended up having to extend the premiere time because people had so many questions about the movie and just the situation in it. People loved the dynamic between the two. And they were a few people guessed it, and a lot of people didn't. A lot of people didn't guess, and it just feels good for people to acknowledge like your talent and your passion, and when it comes together and people can enjoy it and they tell their friends about it, and it makes me feel good to, like, when I'm out and about and I tell people I do movies, and they'll say, well, what do you have? And I said, well, I got some shorts on YouTube, and I got some movies, on Tubi, and I've done this, and this. And they said, oh, I seen that, and that was so good. Oh my God, my favorite scene is this. And it just, like, that's the best feeling in the world. There's no feeling greater than that.
Yeah, the story, like your mind in regards to writing and setting things up, and it's a short. You don't have 2 hours to tell this story.
Yes.
30 minutes, right?
Yes.
30 minutes, and you got to keep people engaged the whole time. So it's like you got the creme de la creme, right? And you've done it with the other ones. It's like the shorts, they get shorter. It's like, all right, this is a few minutes. It's like, oh damn, this is an epic 3 minutes right here. You understand what
And
I'm saying?
you gotta tell a whole story in that very short amount of time. The twins one we was talking about, Daddy's New Girlfriend, and the amount of time it took to shoot that and edit it for this 2-3 minute short film, but you learn so much in this short, just simply based off the dialogue and the things that they got going on. And it's like that's exactly what the point is for you to learn a whole story in a very short amount of time.
And she's talented. So KT, I've seen her in a couple of things that you did. I was like,
that's my little
so
homie.
Talented. And she comes alive. Like, it's like a life she brings to whatever the role is. She's gonna bring her life to it. I'm like, oh man. Like,
that's my little homie. She's like my little mentee.
Oh. She got a bright future. She got a bright future. The character. Can we talk character development? Like, can we go into like what world or multiverse do you go into and pull out these characters and then assign them to the people, and then what kind of little thing you do for them people to bring those roles to life? It's like, all right, bam, Pinocchio's like, I want to be a boy.
What's funny is every movie I've ever written, I've dreamed. Every single one of them. Every single one of my films come from my dreams. So what'll happen is I'll dream either a scene from a movie, and I'll wake up and I'll write that down and build an entire movie around that scene, or I'll dream pieces of a movie where I might dream like maybe 5 or 6, 7, 8 scenes, and then I'll wake up and write those down and build out a story from that. So with character developments, everything I see in my dreams is a whole piece of a character. I see their entire backstory. I see their like you may in a movie like with Ronnie's and Things Fall Together, we meet Ronnie in college. But when I dreamed up this movie, I know in his entire background. I know he his father left when he was a little boy, and him and his mom kind of struggled, and how he grew up a shy, quiet kind of kid, very limited friends. He don't really, he's not really into the in crowd. Like, I see all of this stuff, and I build my characters with full personalities. I build them out with full backstories, relationships with their parents, relationships with their friends, relationships with the other characters in the story. And I do that with every single character that you see. I don't care if the character is just the person at the register that I hand the candy bar to pay for it.
Right.
That cash register person has a story, because when I get on set, I want this cash register person, if I want them chipper, I'll tell them you're happy, like you own the store. This is your store that they're walking into. Or you hate this job. You got all this stuff going on at home, you know. And so that way it gives the actor motivation. You know, it's like, hey, this is your character. Your character hates this job. She got a baby at home, or he got baby mama drama, and between his mother and his baby mama, they on his nerve, and he want to have a career. He want to rap, but he got to work at the store. Or he wants to do this, but he got to work at his store. So this is the character you're playing. So then when you play that character, you're either lazy or nonchalant. You got an attitude when they come to the register. You know what I'm saying? And I do that for every single character, whether they're a big character or a small character.
That is so amazing. Because, I asked different authors, I'm like, where did these characters come from? It's like, oh, they show up. This is the first time I heard dream. Like, I heard characters show up, blah, blah, blah. Like I smell cigarette smoke, and then, this guy or cigar smoke, and this, whatever. Like, they actually come and they're there until you write them, right? And then they come back and like, no, don't write me like that.
Yeah.
So they're taking you in that world. It's like, man, this is amazing, right? So I'm looking at the character development and seeing everybody. Like, I'm envisioning what you're saying as you're saying it in regards to different characters' backstory. So it's like, oh, this is it, and even in the shorts, you make sure you flush the story out. So it's like, oh, dang, oh man, I didn't even know all this was going on. That's what's going on. I
Yeah.
love in situationship when the brother was like, "Oh, I grew up like the Huxtables." I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah!" Like, I was so excited because we do have people that grow up like that. I was so
Absolutely.
glad that it came out of his mouth. Like, it's not everything don't have to be doom and gloom and trauma and craziness and all of that. Like, yeah, I was like, oh man, like this is so crazy.
I'm
Like,
gonna tell you, the most people say what they want about HBCUs, but going to Howard University is the most diverse group of Black people I've ever met. You have Black people from literally every type of world. Rich Black people who parents
right.
are the Huxtables, or their parents are presidents, or princes, kings and queens in other countries. Like, you get to see suburban kids, you get to see rich, Hollywood, Beverly Hill kids.
Right.
You get to see kids from the hood where I'm from. You get to see kids who grew up worse than I did. You get to see, and everybody in between. And I understand that every Black people are not the same. We all come from so many different
Right.
places. And I love showing that on camera, because we're all not struggle. We all didn't come from survival. We some of us did grow up like the Huxtables, and with
Right.
two parents household, and grew up driving a BMW to school. And
Right.
some of us didn't drive a car at all. Some of us walked the road to train, so
Yes. Yes.
it's like I love being able to show all of that, all of that in a film. I got this rom-com I'm preparing to shoot this year that's very much like that. This girl is affluent, she comes from an affluent family, and she's just having a whole good time. She's just the epitome of irresponsible, because she's so spoiled. She's been spoiled her whole life, come from a really nice family, and she's just irresponsible. Her mom, she's always been taken care of, so she don't really have responsibility. And she kind of learns that. She kind of learns what it means to have responsibility because she comes from this affluent neighborhood and she grew up very different. And, and she brings all of this spoiledness and this into her relationships, and it just doesn't work because it's like you can't be spoiled. You can be, but you can't be selfish, in these relationships. And she got to grow out of the things that she's been doing her entire life. And it's very much the same with the guy. He grew up very much the same. Like there's no struggle. So when you got a spoiled girl and a spoiled guy, that's and so they have to learn each
Deliver
other.
us from evil.
Yeah, yes, very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
Oh man, that was funny. How do you manage conflict so well and how you present it? Like there's conflict there, but it's not overarching, over the top. Like how do you manage the conflict in the storytelling? And
So
the additional question for you,
mhm.
since you're so brilliant, can a story be told, a Black story be told without conflict?
No. So for a story to be told, you have to have conflict. It doesn't have to be trauma, but it does have to be conflict. Even with the rom-com I just told you about, there's the conflict is them butting heads because they're both spoiled. There's no trauma, there's no cheating, there's no abuse, it's none of that. It's literally just you're spoiled and I'm spoiled, and we have to figure out how to serve each other before we serve ourselves in this relationship to make this work. And if we want to make this work? Do we want to be together, or do we want to go ahead and just find somebody who's going to spoil us? And how does that help us grow? So that's the conflict doesn't always have to be traumatic. I build off of real life. All of my characters are real life people. I study people. If I'm in a grocery store, I study people on the phone, the things that they say, the way that they move, their body language, the things that they're passionate about in their conversations. I see, if I'm like on a train or something like that, if I decide that, even like when I go to the games, I'll sit on the train and I'll just look at people body language. This woman's coming home from work, she has on uh you know these types of pants, these types of boots, and a vest. Maybe she works at a warehouse, or maybe she does construction and she's tired and her whole body feels so heavy sitting on this train. Or this guy's here in this business suit, but he looks really nervous. Maybe this is he's on the way to a job interview, or he has something going on. Maybe this is his first big opportunity into this job sector. Maybe he switched roles. Like I study people and how they feel, and I put those into my character. I know my friends, I know my family stories, I know how they feel about things, and I just bring real life feelings into stories. And then I create conflict based off of my character flaws. What is this character's flaws and what would oppose that in a story? It doesn't necessarily have to be traumatic. And Till My Casket Drops, even though Till My Casket Drop is a hood film, the message in it is really about love. This guy goes through such a traumatic experience at 12 years old, how he loses his mom, and then he grows up in these situations and situations he don't want to be in. He spends the entire movie saying, I just want to get my money and get out of here.
Right.
He's not trying to be in the hood forever. He's not a Lorenz Tate from Menace to Society. He don't want to be in the hood. That's not his thing. He just want to he understands the situation. He understands the circumstance. And then, the issue he has with his friend, he checks him on it. It's like, this is what you're doing to this woman, and I don't like it. And I'm going to tell you, I don't like it. Some people might not say anything because it's like, hey, this that man business. What he do with that woman, that's his business. But he said, no, I don't like this. And that's very much part of his character, because the way he saw his mom, the way he lost his mom, and his nature to save like women in those types of situations. And then the conflict comes in where you got this guy who's doing these things that you don't like, but you kind of need him to kind of get the rest of your money so you can go and get out of here. So it's like double-headed conflict there. And yeah, that's kind of how I just come up with the way these movies are done.
Now, I think the most creative one I saw was Militant Heart, right? Like the adaptation, like this book, you took this book and brought it to life, but you brought it to life through your lens, right?
No. So Militant Heart is not, but things for Till My Casket Drop is based off a book. Militant Heart is
Okay,
completely
I got them. I got
yeah.
them mixed up. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at those two. See, they like back and forth, right? So it's like, all right. So yeah, Till My Casket Drop
So what's funny
it was
about
a
Till My
ride.
Casket Drop is the entire beginning is right out of the book. So in the book he lives in Atlanta and then he runs to New Orleans. I just changed it from he runs from he's in Charlotte and then he runs to Atlanta because we're here in Atlanta. But once he gets to Atlanta, everything else is all me. Because the book got crazy.
Whoa.
It's so much stuff that happens in the book that I just changed or cut out because the book got a little bit crazy. Like him and the girl, they hooked up way faster. It was my decision to not, have them hook up way earlier. I let that build because I didn't want him to just take old boy's girl because he was beating on her. I wanted her to feel safe enough, and I wanted her to be the one to approach him because she felt safe enough to do that. In the book, it's an urban book, so it's a lot of sex, a lot of drugs, and I just decided to take this crime-filled, sex-filled book and turn it into an actual love story.
That's beautiful. That is so creative. I'm telling you, I was like, yo, this is bugged, right? But Militant Heart, okay, that's another opportunity
Yeah,
to talk about something that's
of
real,
course.
something that's
Yes,
happening,
100%.
and then give it the balance, right? So there's a balance in there. Like this, it's funny, right? It's funny,
But it's
it's
serious.
informative, it's like, yo, you sitting with your friend, if you're not hip, you like, you think they really doing stuff like this? You understand? Like, so at this level, like these people are doing this, these people are involved, and there's higher elements to that, right? So it's like, okay, you stopped it at the precinct, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's like this is the whole thing that could be built in. Like you took us into a world and you kind of eased us in, and I was thankful, right? It's like, all right, it's not too graphic. You understand what I'm saying? It's not too, but it's hard hitting. It's like this is happening.
Yeah.
These kinds of things are going on. Be aware of what's happening, and then every character sharing their story, you gave them authenticity. Like you
Yeah.
spoke to those people and their plight and whatever the things was. It's like, all right. So even with the demo reel, right? With that big dude in that scene, she was like, wait a minute, all right. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, she hit him with a bottle, this dude's still standing. He
Yeah.
just snatched the bat out. I was like, yo, this is craziness, right? So I'm bugging going through the whole thing. I'm exhausted looking at her like, yo, what's she about to do? How's she about to do? Yeah, so I was like, all right.
Yeah, you know why? It's because for that scene, it's like when I watch action movies, and action movies is my favorite. I cannot wait to have enough money to shoot action comedies like Bad Boys and Two Guns. Like those are my favorite types of movies. But it's like it's always funny to me when I see like a woman fighting a big dude in a movie, and she's just doing all of this stuff and all of these maneuvering, and she don't ever get really hurt. He might slam her against the wall, but she's always fine. And I kind of just wanted to change that a little bit to where she's trying to fight this big dude and nothing is phasing this guy. Like nothing, and that's the scene that I dreamed of. When I first decided to do this film, I had a dream. That exact scene right there was a scene I dreamed, and I've always wanted to do like an organ harvesting film. And so what I did was, once I had that dream and I started building around that scene and this female character, I said, okay, I can make this work with the organ harvesting, you know. And instead of making her a cop, I can make her husband a cop, and he's killed working on this organ harvesting case.
Right.
And she's trying to figure out who killed him. And so she got to solve his case to figure out who murdered him. And that's kind of how that came about.
Yeah, that was a ride right there.
Yeah.
That was a ride out of this world. I was like, yo, this yo, the dude came up with the baby oil.
Yes. Yeah.
Yo, I'm telling you, like, it was like the way you place the lighthearted moments. You see what I'm saying? It's like uh, it's a beautiful balance. It's not
Yes. Yeah.
neither one is over the top. Like you're
Yeah.
telling a cohesive story. You got the balance. You got the moments in there. You got the internal and the external conflict.
Yes.
And then the scene where she goes to see her mother-in-law.
His mom,
She's like, "You
yes.
still my daughter." I was like, "Ah," you
Yeah.
understand? And so it's like it's reconciliation, and you know she goes back to her partner the next day, and it's like, "All right, we got to do what we got to do." And he's like, "Yo, I lost my badge." You know what I'm saying? But I get it
I
back
wanted
tomorrow.
to show
Like,
that scene there where she goes and apologizes, because a lot of times they say women don't take accountability, and we don't apologize for things. And I do see that a lot. I do see a lot of women who just can't fathom apologizing, even when they know they're in the wrong. So I wanted to make a scene where her idea of making up is just like, oh, I'm gonna bring you some donuts. And it's
Right.
like, yeah, that don't work here in this situation. You disrespected me. You got my badge taken. Like, no, you have to apologize. And I wanted to make a scene where a woman just had to break herself down and take accountability and apologize and do it genuinely. And so that's what we did in that scene.
yeah, that was ill. And he was like, "How that feel?"
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
and they
real.
close, like it's close. It's like you really that's your partner.
Yes.
We got back together. All
Yeah.
right, let's go handle this business. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And thank you for what's her name? Jazz? The
She
little
is the
hacker girl
fan
house?
favorite, Jazzy. She is the fan favorite.
Jazzy, yeah, she is. I'm thankful. It's like we do so many things. I thank you for thinking of having somebody right there, right? And she being a young sister, and yeah, it's like, all right, you can't put us in the category. Like, all right, blah blah blah, you got this going on, this, right? So I was like, yo, this it's so dope. You
And
know
that's
what I
why I
mean? Like,
said I love being able to have the nerdy black girl in a film,
right, right,
and the hot-headed black girl in the film,
right,
and the
right,
by the book black guy in the film. Like,
right,
it's just, I always love like we were talking about earlier, just having these different types of characters, because these are real people. We do
right,
have nerdy black women. We do have nerdy
right,
black guys. We do have
right.
strong alpha male, alpha female. Like, we have all of it. And I absolutely love being able to just put black people in a position to play every type of person there are in this world.
Yeah. So it's so rich. You know, even like situationship. He thought he saw something, and instead of asking about it,
Communication.
he withdrew himself. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's like, so, you know, they're doing this back and forth thing. Yo, the way you Love Jones did, I don't want to say that's what you did, but for my mind, the way you Love Jones did, where that I'm talking to my partner, talking to the homegirl, oh, we just chilling. You know, when they did that scene where
At the
they
bar.
explain it, and then
Yeah.
yeah. And then Isaiah Washington said, when that Jones come down, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yes.
it's so perfect. Like, oh, we just doing this. Oh, I do me and she does her. Like, she doing her. You saying that's okay, but you seen that shit and you ain't like it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like homeboy told him. It's
Yeah.
like, that's beautiful to have a best friend in that manner that can grow you up in a second. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because throw you up
absolutely.
in a second, like you fighting yourself. You like you trying to convince me, or you trying to convince
You
me?
trying to
Like
convince
it's
yourself that was the
you.
goal there. It's just like people lie to themselves so much trying to be
Mhm.
the hard person. You know, men and
Right,
women do it, just trying to be the hard person. And it's
right,
like you're only lying to yourself because we all see what's real. And
right.
yeah, absolutely. And I do I really love people like that who call their friends out. You know, stop playing
Right,
the hard guy because you do love that girl. You care about her,
right.
you know, and you just can't admit it to yourself because you're scared.
Mm. And then he
Yeah,
came over there vulnerable. Like he came over there bearing his soul. You know, no defenses up, no walls,
yeah,
nothing. It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I was like, there's so much in that little clip right there. Little sister was like, I guess we ain't going no more. Yeah, I'm going in the house. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I ain't. Yeah, so it's like all of those little nuances, some of the things that make everything great. So
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I want to ask about budget. One of the interviews you were on set and you were interviewing with one of the sisters, and you talked about budget. You know, keeping things under budget and going into how important is that for young creatives that are out here or people who are aspiring to get into the business?
So budget to be able to budget something and stay under budget is probably going to be the most important lesson and um, most important tool that you can have in your toolbox in filmmaking. Because on an independent level, we're not Hollywood. We don't get millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars to make these movies. These movies are between 20 and $100,000, and
Mm.
if you can't stay under that when you get to Hollywood, and even though they give you a little bit of space, it's going to be so much harder for you to maneuver around simply because if you can't budget 20, 30,000, 50,000, 75,000, there's no way they're going to give you a $2 million film. So you definitely need to learn. A lot of times people are unaware of how much things actually cost. They just guess instead of just
Right.
writing it all out and saying, okay, food is going to cost this much per day. Let me calculate this out and write this number down. And my crew is going to cost this much per day. Let me write this out and really write it down. What folks would do is say, okay, I have this much money, I'll make it work. And it's like, yes, you can, but then you have to sit down and say, I'm willing to lose this to make this work.
Mm.
I'm willing to spend a little bit more here, but I'm gonna have to take a little bit off of this and move money back and forth to make things work because you can't go over budget. Especially when you don't have it. When you have in this lane, when you have an executive producer that's only going to give you $70,000, you're only getting $70,000. So if you decide you want to spend $10,000 on getting an actor with a face, which is great, it's going to help your film in the long run. But then if you can't get the locations you need, it
Right.
doesn't matter if you have that actor. Or if you can't feed people for a day or two, that's going to be a problem. Or if you can't get the proper equipment that you need or the props that you need because you decided to spend a lot of your money on a face, but then the movie turns out to be really bad because you didn't budget properly. It doesn't matter what the face is. If the movie is bad, the movie is bad.
Mm. And that's a deep jewel right there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. What is one of the films that you created with the least amount, and then what's one of the films you created with the most?
So all of my short films we did for under $1,000. People worked. My crew came on. We worked for free. Everybody worked for free because it was just a short that we were putting up on YouTube.
Mhm.
And we only really spent money on food. I spent money on food, and I spent money on, I think, same day different. We rented an Airbnb to shoot in. That was the most expensive one we did. Everything else is like between $500 and $600 we spent on food, and we just shot it at either my house or somebody else's house. or at the park or something like that. My first film we did for 35,000. And honestly, it was tough because it was the first film that I had, my first feature film. And I had to really, really, really stretch the money. When I say I had to stretch it, I really had to stretch it. I had my mom come down and cook because it was way cheaper to have somebody to buy all the food and have somebody cook for the 2 weeks we were filming versus getting a caterer. And then I had the faces, I got Markel from Walking Dead and ATL and all of these movies. And then I got Gary Gravy from the Biggie Smalls movie.
Yeah,
And Trey
Jamal.
Tony from The Wire.
Yeah.
And so I had to make the decision to say, okay, if I'm gonna get these people, they're gonna get. I'm gonna try and get them in roles that are impactful, but I can only that I only need them for one single day. And so Gravy came, and he came for one single day, and we did the 2 scenes that he's in one day, and then the same thing with Trey Chaney from The Wire. So we shot all of their stuff on the same day, and they had impactful scenes. And it's like, if I'm gonna spend the money, I'm gonna only spend it for one single day. I'm gonna get everything I can out of these guys, and then we'll move forward with everything else. Marquise Moore, we shot him. I think he was on set for 4 days. I think we got all of his scenes done. 5 days. We shot all of his stuff in 5 days, and I made sure I used the money, like I said, as best as I could to get the most that I could out of him. And then we used the rest of it to rent cars and houses and stuff to shoot in. And we made it work. And it was tough. Not gonna lie, it was very tough. But it was worth it in the end. It came out fantastic. We made like 13 times our budget back, 18, 20 times our budget back. So, it did well. It did really, really well. We were number 1 on Tubi for like 6 weeks.
So YouTube versus Tubi, like what was the Tubi decision or the catalyst to putting content over there, and what's some lessons you learned that you could share with people who are shopping to find a place to have their work be seen by the world?
So my short films I put on YouTube to kind of just gain experience and to gain recognition and from other people that says, hey, this is what I can do. Hire me as a director, hire me as a writer, producer. This is what I can do. That was the goal of that. Situationship has over 1 million views. People love the situationship. It's because it's so true. It's very much a real life story. People love those stories. So I put that stuff on YouTube just to show people what I could do. So when I was out here trying to get money for a feature film, I put together a reel that says, hey, this is what I've done. This is what I can do. And then I finally ran into this author who wanted to turn his book into a feature. And I told him I could do it. I read the book. I thought he was going to be upset with me because I changed, like I said, I changed 80% of it. I changed 80% of the book, but he was like, okay, let's do it. And he gave me the money. I said, okay. And me doing those short films is how I ended up with a distribution deal. And so I took the distribution deal and this over here when he gave me the money, and I just put them together and I said, okay, this is what I can bring you. And I sent them the script. They said, okay. And we did it.
What did it feel like when it was done? You know what I mean? Like I know every one of these has a different feeling. So what was it like when this was done? Like
the first one is always amazing. Like the feeling of just watching it. It was very much, I felt like it was my Jason's lyrics, just watching it over and over and over and over after it was edited. And when we got into the studio and we started adding music, and it was just like this huge sense of accomplishment. Like I felt really good shooting my first short film, but this one, just the amount of work that went into this and me doing this all by myself, because like I said, the guy who gave me the money was an author. He had never shot a movie before. I had never done a feature before. And I was just really flapping in the wind, just trying to hold everything together to prove to people that I could do it. And when it was done, it was amazing. And then we had the premiere, and we sold out at the premiere in 2 days. And it was just so great just to see people afterwards come up and they say, "Oh my God, that was so good." And people who had read the book, people who read the book came up and was like, "You changed a lot. You took this out." And it was like, yes, I did, but it made a really good love story. People compare it to Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
And it's just a great feeling to just, doing a movie is like putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle, so when you get the last piece of puzzle in there and it fits perfectly and you look at this whole big picture and it's finished and it's like all of this hard work you can visually see in front of you, there's no feeling topping it.
That's what's up. I mean, yeah, I mean, you put the work, the time, the effort in.
Yeah.
You've been doing this since you were 5. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have a whole nother level of insight. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. I love it. And again, the balance is a beautiful thing for me, and the diversity, right? We're not a monolith. Everybody. So even in this element where they might be in the underworld, everybody doesn't have the same thing. Some people have a different moral compass, and their catalysts and their motivations and all of it. So it's like it's perfect. It's perfect. And I just enjoyed the fact of the depth that you gave each character, the range, and all of that. What is it? Same day, different ish.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level for me, right? So it's like I've seen people do it before, where I've seen that, but I hadn't seen it like this. Right. So this is like the beautiful cautionary tale without saying it's a cautionary tale. Right. So it's a beautiful sort of cautionary tale, and like, what if you could see your life before you lived it sort of effect. So like the weight of your decision, this happened, and it was less and less. Like that knock, it had got annoying at first to me, but then it's like, all right, this is proof that it's a dream. Like it's going on. It's like that lady knocking, did I see the lady knocking all around the door? I was like, I fell out. So it's like, all right, I could assign that with it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, Friday after next type of situation. You see what I'm saying? You kind of get this, whole thing about the Fridays. Every Friday they had some kind of conflict where they had to make something happen. And the way you presented this cautionary tale, like, look at what one decision could lead to. One decision, whether you call it bad or good, it's a decision. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Showing that decision, and it's like it's going over and over. And it wasn't, I got it right the first time. So they're saying there's some kind of feedback on here. You don't hear nothing?
I don't hear any feedback, no.
For me, I think it's on my end. It's kind of echoing a little bit now. Let me leave out and come back. I'm gonna play a song real quick and then make sure we good take that.
It's the Mark Moon.
Shit. Nah. Love the royal priesthood. Mark of Buddha, Sekou the madman, Killer Priest, 4th Chambers, 4 Fuji. This beat sound like something I wear. You dig? Yo, hold on, my people. Why you walking around like you equal? They wrote you in as 3/5. What we gonna do about this? Talk too much, you end up like Jimi Hendrix.
Painter, brother's letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong, maybe cause the wheel is torn. I clutch in the ball cause I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in the stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you. And
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, I can.
It's still doing it on my end. I don't know. But, what did I want to? Like that whole thing kind of threw me off for a second. Let me- oh, same day difference, right?
Yeah.
The the story is rich, right? And the detail, like I'm like, yo, his man's went with him through all that every time. It's like, I same dude. I was like, it's funny, but what was that like to shoot? Because like I said, them outtakes, I was like, yo, I felt like I was in the movie on the set. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now we had a great time. We had such a great time shooting that. Um, it was a little bit harder to shoot than I thought. I was thinking because it was the same day over and over and over, but it kind of got confusing a little bit on set. So I had to like really break stuff down, and help the cast understand which day we were shooting. Because everything was exactly the same. It was just the way he gets killed was different every time. So it kind of got a little bit confusing on set, but we had such a blast shooting that. All of those, guys are my friends. These are my actual friends that are interested in acting. Uh, they're funny, outside of acting. They're just funny people, and they're comical all by themselves. I said, you know what? Let's just do something funny. I wanted to do a funny film. I wanted to do something that would be out of the norm. Um, and when I thought about it, and I had the dream of just doing something where this guy is living the same day over and over and over, trying to pay his rent, trying to get money to pay his rent. It was like, this doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. We don't have to always have so much sense in a film, which is why we have movies like Groundhog Day. And I wrote it up, I sent it out, and everybody was like, "Yo, let's shoot this." And so we just did it.
You know, the way I cheered when the money was on the dresser.
Yeah.
You know, the way I
It was like,
cheered,
it's over, finally.
I was like, this is so dope. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, like,
He heard the knock and he was like, dang, I didn't, how did this happen? And then he, see the money and it's like, oh, this is finally over with.
mm,
Yeah, he achieved his goal.
yeah, that was definitely dope. And then I'm like, all right, it's over. I'm like, wait, I get outtakes too? I got
Yeah,
this dope concept movie, right?
yeah,
It makes sense in my world, okay? I'm a Gemini, so I seen every little angle of all of the thing. I was like, oh yeah, oh. Then I was like, I wonder if he hit Shorty. Then I see the little outtakes. It's like, yo, you was ready. You really hit me that time. I was like, ah.
yeah. So we had a rubber, we had a rubbery, foamy frying pan. It's a prop.
Mm,
So he was hitting her, but it was still kind of hard. It's fake,
yeah.
but it was still kind of hard. So I think he had hit her, a little bit too hard one time, and she was like, "Oh no, like you hit me for real that time." Yeah. Now we had a good time on that set. We had a great time on that set.
That was a classic. That was
Yeah.
a classic. Yeah,
Yeah.
Militant Heart hit me in the heart. You know what I'm saying? But this joint had me cracking up, laughing, cheering. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Like,
Militant Heart should be on Tubi next week. It's either this week or next week. We're waiting on the actual date, but yeah, we're waiting on that to hit Tubi this week or next week.
so today is March 9th, right?
Yes.
29 years ago, Biggie situation,
Yeah.
Brooklyn, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, what does that mean for you?
What's
And if
crazy
you could
is,
tell that story a little bit,
yeah.
like if you could tell that story, how would you tell it?
So Biggie died March 9th.
Mm-hmm.
My birthday is the 12th. My birthday is for Thursday. And
Mm,
it was just so like heartbreaking, just to have that happen days before my birthday, and the whole city was just sad. Like the whole city was just devastated. And I'm a child. I think I was turning 9, if I'm not mistaken. Um yeah, I think I was turning 9 when this happened. And
mm,
um I was turning 9 or 10, and it was crazy. It was like yeah, like this because we have a lot of people come out of Brooklyn. Let's just be real. We had a lot of big folks come out of Brooklyn, but never um this type of guy, with this type of energy. And he was just loved by so many people. And me as a child, I understood that. My uncles and aunts were big fans of his, so we heard, the music was blasting at the house all the time.
mm-hmm.
My older cousins, very much a Biggie fan. And so when he died, and we just kind of hit everybody so differently. And then, my birthday comes a couple days later, and it was just like, dang, I'm excited to celebrate my birthday, but everybody was still so. It's like the topic of
Right,
conversation. If social media was around back then, it would have still been trending. And then a
right.
couple days after my birthday, they had the funeral, and it was just a sad moment in hip hop, and it just lasted for a long time. Even now, people still, it's like unbelievable.
Mm.
Definitely a different time then.
So if you could tell that story, how would you tell it?
Um, if I can tell the story of him dying.
Well, just his life, or have whatever
Oh,
angle or aspect. Like, how could you?
I think I would tell it from the side you didn't get to see. I would have the music, of course, that stuff in there, but I would really let people see just that silly side of Biggie. Like I said, my uncles and them, they kind of knew him. That, when he used to freestyle on the corners, they were very much, in those ciphers trying to rap. They're not really good rappers, but just trying to make had their little stance too. And so I would tell it from that side of just his you get to know Christopher Wallace more than Biggie Smalls, and how Christopher turned into Biggie, and that whole that whole fun side of Big, and the guy that he was beyond the music. I would love people to see that side of him and how loved he was in the city and everywhere else.
Is it a documentary style, or is it a regular movie?
I would probably do documentary. I feel like documentaries are super powerful because you get the story told from so many different people that really knew him. And like Mo B, a super producer from Brooklyn. He, like, my family knows Mo B. He's Biggie Small's producer back in the day. And so the stories that I would hear just from him and my uncle, and um, it's like you get to know Biggie on a personal level beyond him being just Biggie Smalls. You get to see just how funny he was and how incredibly talented he was, because he would just come up with raps off the top of his head, and that's the side of, I think I would let people just get to see more of Christopher, very much how people saw how Kanye really loved his mom. He was a mama's boy. I don't think the movie portrayed that enough, how big of a mama's boy he was. Um, and I seen a documentary one time talking about how he got into it with his mom one time, and he just stayed on the phone. Like, she put the phone down and he stayed on the phone for hours, like 4 or 5 hours, until she picked the phone back up. And she was just like, "Why are you still on the phone?" He was like, "No, I wanted to talk to you until, and while we were calm, because you're gonna tell me you love me, and I'm gonna tell you, like that's the type of person he was." I would love to have for people to see that part of Big. I think I would do it in a documentary style. Yeah.
Yeah, that's epic right there. So this film you did for Atlanta.
Yes, the Close the Jail, the collective. Yes. So here in Atlanta, it's a detention center, the Fulton County Detention Center downtown. They were doing, they were making $3 million a year. Just so, my friend has a nonprofit organization for formerly incarcerated people. Her job is to, like, help people when they come out of prison, help them find jobs, housing, get them back their voters privileges back, and all of that type of stuff. And they bail a lot of people out, especially women. They do it. They have a Black Mamas bailout, where they bail out a lot of women so they can be home for Mother's Day or Christmas and that type of stuff. Bail out men, so they can be home for Christmas type of thing. And they had this detention center downtown, this jail, where they were only housing on any given day 25 to 30 people, but they were making $33 million a year, spending $3 million a year on salaries. And it's like, why? How are all of these correctional officers making overtime for 25 people for a jail that houses 2,500 people? And so it's like, if y'all aren't using the jail, because all they're doing is throwing homeless people in there for, urinating or sleeping on the sidewalk or whatever. And it's like, if y'all aren't utilizing this jail for anything, you just got folks in here sitting because they can't make a $500 bail. They don't have anybody to come bail them out. Y'all need to just close this down and turn it into something that the community can use to kind of help these homeless people that have nowhere to go, these people with mental disabilities, these poor women, these poor women with children, these poor men, these single fathers, these single mothers, and just help build this community instead of just having this big prison in the middle of the city and you're not doing anything to help anybody. You're just putting people in jail for being poor, basically. So yeah, that was a really important project for me, and I thank you to Bar Business for letting me bring that to life, and really show people what's happening here in Atlanta.
Now the styles, are they different? Like shooting a video versus shooting short versus shooting a feature film versus shooting documentary? Like, does
Most
it
definitely.
call from different aspects of you? Whether it's a rom-com or action or serious story. Like, where do you go in regards to how it's shot?
So with music videos, I would say they're probably the easiest because I'll hear a song and I'll come up with a whole visual for it. I'll do the treatment. We'll decide on it and we'll say, okay, go. And we'll just shoot it and I'll edit it, and it'll take a couple hours to do. Um, it's not as drawn out as, let's say, like a short film. With the short film, is very similar to a feature, but not really. Um, it's much shorter. The process is the same. You still do pre-production, making sure you have your characters, your locations, your catering, your props, everything in that sense. But everything is much shorter time frame. Instead of shooting 2 days on a short film, we shoot maybe 2 weeks on a feature. Documentaries is probably the longest process of something I've done, because you have to take so much and cut it down into this little bitty piece, whether it's a short documentary or a full feature documentary. You have to shoot. And in movies, when we shoot movies, we really only shoot what we need. Sometimes we might shoot a little bit extra for B-roll or whatever, but we very rarely just shoot just because. With documentaries, you shoot just because. Whatever you can shoot, you just shoot it so that you can have it when you're ready to edit this documentary down. That's probably the most tedious form of filmmaking I've done, shooting a documentary.
I'm gonna be a documentarian for the rest of my life. Thanks. Because like we were discussing. Well, I expressed my disdain for how black people are captured on film,
Yeah.
and these television shows and all of
Yeah.
this, like this one trick pony. Then they got this writing room full of people who don't look like us, or if they look like us, they're beholden. So there's nothing
Yeah, it might
authentic,
be
nothing
one,
relatable.
in a writing room of 12, it might be 3 black people in there. Yeah, for a black show. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to ask, it's Black Women's History Month. So, what does
Yeah.
it mean to be a black woman and a black woman in this industry? And what does success look like for you in this lane and in this vein? In that heart of service that you have and giving back.
So to be a black woman is everything. I don't like, we are champions from the day we're born, because it's just tough. It's tough being in this world as a black woman. To be in this business as a black woman is even harder. It's less than 1% of black women in Hollywood, in the film industry, just in general. And so you get a lot of no's, or like even when I'm on set, or if I'm out, let's say if we do an event, my crew is there, they'll approach my crew and my crew is full of men. I have a bunch of men in my crew. And so they'll approach, usually I have a guy, he's 6'5". He's usually the guy they go to first just because he's so tall. But they all, be like, well, Queen is nah, go to Queen. And it's crazy that they're always the person, that folks reach out to first. Like, they never assume that I'm the person that put this together. Very rarely do they assume that, I'm the person, even if they watch the movie and they'll see my name on there 4 or 5 times as the writer, the director, the producer, the editor, and they will still go to one of my guy friends and say, so how did you come up with this? Or how did you? And it's like, well, no, that's all Queen. And then they're mind blown. It's like they can't believe a woman did all of this type of stuff, or it's just it's crazy to me. But I'm used to it. I've been dealing with this literally my entire life. So for me, as far as the success, I feel like I'm successful already. My entire goal in life was to make a living making movies, and I'm doing that. I haven't worked a job in a decade. I've just been making these movies, and that was my goal. And so that's what success means to me. Militant Heart is mine 100%. I didn't use a financer. We didn't get funding. I pulled that money out of my bank account and we got it done. So this is the first one where this is 100% me, 100% mine. And going forward, that's what it's going to be. It's just going to be me funding my own projects. I don't have to wait on somebody to finally tell me yes. I make my own yeses. So that's what success looks like to me.
That is so powerful. Y'all see why I said she's so damn dope. You see that? You see that? Like that's beautiful. Um, I want to talk about the class you wanted that you're doing that you're offering. Um, but I want to ask, what are some stories that are left that you can share that you want to tell that you haven't gotten into yet?
So I have a couple movies that are costly to shoot. We're talking about millions of dollars. So I have a film called Carolina Whiskey Run. It's a Prohibition era film based in 1927. It's about this race car driver, black race car driver in Windsor, North Carolina, who gets recruited to run moonshine through this county. And this is the time where they've put together a task force called the Prohibition Police, where they're trying to stop these, moonshine runners. It's technically based off a true story. My grandfather used to tell me all of these stories about his father who who made moonshine and ran shine and sold it and did all of these things. So that's basically where the story comes from. My family is from Windsor, North Carolina. It's a real place. They're actually from Mary Hill. So in Windsor, North Carolina, there's a little town inside of it called Mary Hill. And so the white people lived in Windsor and the black people lived in Mary Hill. And that's where my family is from. And they got 10 acres of land out there. My grandfather's family has 10 acres of land, and they would just make moonshine and run moonshine. And they used to tell me about this woman who had like the largest moonshine business, where she had distilleries like underground, hidden from the police, and she would make all of these ways. So if you pulled up on her, you didn't know where the distillery was. She would like psych you out. It would move all the time. And so I decided to make a film about it. And it's not really a struggle film. It is, of course, because it's the time. They do have like racism in it. Um, but it's really just about this kid with a goal. He wants to be a race car driver. He races, every weekend for money to help his family out with their farm. And but his goal is to get to Harlem for the heart for because they doing all this big stuff during the Harlem Renaissance time. And that's his goal. He's 19, and that's his goal. He just graduated and he wants to save up this money by racing to get to Harlem, because in New York is the only place where they were letting black people. They had an actual speedway for black race car drivers, and that was his goal, is to get there to New York to race in these black I guess NASCAR. It wasn't NASCAR back then, but these black races. And that's his goal to move. But in the meantime, he needs to help his family get this money to save their farm, and so he's running moonshine, and the cops can't catch him. He's too fast.
I love it.
So I have that one. I have a Christmas movie. I have a Christmas movie that I want to put the most faces in it. I want to. It's like a scavenger hunt. It's very much like Jingle All the Way. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but very much like Jingle All the Way. And it's just a fun. It's a rom-com as well, but it's a fun film, Tom and Jerry type of movie. And I want to just get a bunch of faces in it, and put it in theaters. And I have that. I have a boxing movie. I can shoot that on a small scale, but it's going to cost me a little bit more than I usually spend on a movie. So that's probably, maybe in the next 2 years I'll get that out, because it costs a lot to rent out boxing rings. But yeah, I definitely have some films I want to shoot, that I'm just waiting to get enough money to do it.
That's the bomb. I already see the films. If you describing them, I'm looking. I'm like,
Yeah,
Dad, I want to read that book, or I want to, see the
yeah,
documentary. Like the way you describe that family story, your family story. Like I'm
yeah,
interested. I want to know. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I want to know, and I'm
yeah.
already, yeah. So what about these classes? And is there a master class that you have planned in the future? Something where people could come see you and
Yeah, I definitely want to start doing workshops. Just talking to people, helping. Like I said, I'm not a gatekeeper. I can't stand that folks feel like you just need to gatekeep information. To me, I look at it as, if you tell 10 people in a room, give 10 people this information, 5 of them are going to walk out because it's too much work for them to do. And then 3 of them are going to try, and then they're going to realize it's a lot of work, or they're going to fail a little bit, and then they're going to quit because it's hard. And excuse me, you're going to have 2 that's going to actually put the work in and go all the way, you know, or one to maybe stop and the other one will go all the way. Like, there's no point in gatekeeping, because you can give a bunch of people the information, doesn't mean they're going to actually use it. But I definitely want to get into doing some workshops, some filmmaking workshops where you learn writing, you know, having different parts of filmmaking in these workshops, writing, directing, producing, cinematography, basics of cinematography, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Whenever you have it, let me know. I need to. Like I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I
Yeah.
love it. I love our stories. I love us.
Yeah.
You know, I spent the last decade on doing this, you know, type of interview style, thousands of interviews, but taking the documentary style to the next level. You know, I got an audacious goal: tell 1 million Black stories from around the
Yeah.
globe.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Because that's the same goal I have. Tell 1 million Black stories. Different. You know, we're not all the same.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my goal is to show enough authentic stories to where the people who see them, they can see themselves and be like, oh, I don't have to be nothing extra. I'm enough as me. I'm more than enough just as me. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely the
that was the
goal.
point of Jazzy and Militant Heart. You know, it was just like, you don't have to be anything but yourself. And she was 100% herself in that character. She was just the hacker, you know, and she, you know, you saw she wasn't afraid to shoot her shot, you know. She was just genuine, and everybody can be genuine. I think social media has gotten people to a point where they feel like they have to be someone else, or they have to be like someone else for people to respect them and love them. And it's like, I am completely loved exactly how I am, and everybody can have that same thing. You just have to find your tribe. If you don't fit in here, find where you fit. Don't change yourself to fit somewhere, because you're going to make yourself unhappy. You're going to make yourself miserable. And these are the types of characters I want to put in my films, just a different, wide range of Black people in films.
2 pieces of advice for aspiring directors, producers, content creators that you wish somebody would have told you when you started.
First piece of advice I wish I got back in the day: stop waiting. Stop waiting. Your ducks will never, ever, 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 ever be in a row. There's no such thing as ducks lining up perfectly for you to have the perfect opportunity to do this. Just start. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till, oh, I'm gonna start on the. Just start today. Start today. Because what happens is, if you wait, something always goes wrong. You break up with your boyfriend, now you sad, or your car breaks down and the money you had for it is now gone. Start today, because once you jump and you take that leap, the wings will come out. Your wings will come out, and you'll learn to fly on the spot. It's very much like sink or drown type of situation, where it's like you jump in, and then you'll have your ducks, and then you can line them up as you go. Second piece of advice: do not be afraid to fail. Failure is part of success. The biggest part of success is failure, because once you fail at something, now you have learned a lesson. You learned, and you fix it, and you move forward, and then you might fail at something again, and then you learn that lesson and you apply it, and then you move forward. But for you to keep growing, you have to fail. Failure is part of success. Two pieces of advice I would give anybody for any type of industry. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be film or anything. I don't care if you want to go work at Google. Just don't wait to do something. Start today, and don't be afraid to fail.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why she's so damn dope. Okay. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your care. Thank you for your continued effort. Folks, thank us for our service. I'm saying thank you for your service in this way. You understand what I'm saying? Thank you for your service in this way.
Yes.
And thank you for the mind that you possess. Your stories are amazing, and just imagine down the road, in the space of longevity, what it's going to look like in the future, and what imprint you're going to leave in the world, in the eyes and the minds of everybody who sees your work. So, honest to you, honest to your family, and honest to your future. Closing remarks, shout out, social media. If people want to contact you, try to collab with you, or have the case review, or if they want to hire you, they've got enough money, you know what I'm saying, to do what they need to do to get you and your team involved.
Yeah. So first off, I want to just thank you. Appreciate you for reaching out and bringing me on. I feel honored to be here. This was super dope. Secondly, anybody wants to contact me, hit my Instagram, Queen Directs on Instagram. You can find all my contact information there. You can email me at queendirects@gmail.com. If you want to hire me, like I said, let's talk, because it's not a money thing for me. It's a passion thing for me. If you got a project you want to do, you need help, hit my phone. I might not be able to do everything, but I can give you either advice on something, or I can, if you're in Atlanta, I can pull up on you, or you can pull up on me. Like I said, I'm not one of those people that do this for the money. I'm financially straight. Trust and believe, these movies do very well on Tubi. So I'm just here to help pull the person up behind me, because I didn't have that growing up. My hood, it was no one did film. You either sold drugs, or you stole cars, or you went off to college and, you became a lawyer, a doctor, or something, like that. Or you worked in a regular job. Nobody did anything creative outside of rap, where I grew up at, and sports. That was really it. So my job is to kind of bring up other folks and other Black people, just to get them on this level I'm at, because I'm moving on up. I'm trying to get to the next level. So yeah, reach out to me, please. I don't mind, and I respond to DMs. Please hit me up. Queen Directs on everything.
She is approachable, okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's how she got here today.
Yes, that is a fact.
Yeah. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your love. And thank you for everything that you do.
Yes.
We're going to say peace and love. We have the great, the wonderful Queen Norris in the building. Brooklyn.
Yes. Brooklyn in the house. Yes. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. See you next time. Hopefully you come back.
Yeah, I'm back. You call me, I'm here.
Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand. I can't explain the way these crown lows, they come to me. Morning meditation, Psalm 91 and 23. Watering my money tree, manifest abundantly. On a mission, running free, everything they wanna be. In summary, there's been a shift within the earth sphere. So now people hear my messages and words clear. Still shining, the illest with the brilliant timing. The gold mine, who had to go find the silver lining. Ain't nothing new underneath the sun. I be going through it too, you ain't the only one. Don't take none of this life personal, cause we all got some lessons that we working through. Ain't nothing new underneath the sun. I be going through it too, you ain't the only one. Don't take none of this life personal, it's just the lessons that we working through. So why you tripping, huh? Why you mad, son? Had some good days and some bad ones. Might win some, might lose some. That's just the way it goes, life 101. Why you tripping, huh? Why you mad, son? Had some good days and some bad ones. That's just the way it goes, life 101. Yeah, life gon' be life until your day is done. Never will you see a thief return a treasure stolen. No need to lock away your heart if it was never open. Truth heals the spirit and it's better spoken. Most never heal, they remain forever broken. I protect over my cells like a prison guard. True and living star, pay the price to get these wisdom bars. Listen hard, I was cut out of a different cloth. Turn your light up on these hoes and never switch it off. The queen's a winner, moving like a seasoned ninja. I'm even tempered, never beefing like a vegan dinner. I found peace within my inner, that's a sweet surrender. Don't relive your lessons twice like repeat offenders. They'd rather see me decompose like leaves in the winter. Want me to undermine my shine and decrease my shimmer. While they compete in subliminal battles, I'm only fighting hidden parts of my invisible shadow. Cause I learned that people never want the bitter truth, just the sweetness. But you need both the light and dark to reach completeness. Goddamn, people throw rocks and hide their hands. Vindicate the wolves and they silence in the lambs. Fight to keep your soul purer than a sacred virgin. Even if you die in the rebirth into your latest version. Your fate is determined by how you shake the weight of burdens. You gotta save yourself, become your own favorite person. Ain't nothing new underneath the sun. I be going through it too, you ain't the only one. Don't take none of this life personal, cause we all got some lessons that we working through. Ain't nothing new underneath the sun. I be going through it too, you ain't the only one. Don't take none of this life personal. It's just the lessons that we working through. So why you tripping, huh? Why you mad, son? Had some good days and some bad ones. You might win some, might lose some. That's just the way it goes, life 101. Why you tripping, huh? Why you mad, son? Had some good days and some bad ones. That's just the way it goes, life 101. Yeah, life gonna be life until your day is done.
One life.